I found Dad's note on the fridge, then discovered his secret. The fridge was humming like nothing was wrong. But the note Dad left on it said everything. You made your choice. It was scribbled on the back of an old grocery receipt, taped just above a mess of torn-up family photos, our faces shredded into fragments like we'd been erased on purpose. I stood in the kitchen barefoot, fresh from a 6-hour bus ride home, and stared at what used to be the smiling center of our fridge. There were once magnets from Yellowstone, a #OneDad Father's Day card from when I was 12, and a strip of 4 photos from the state fair, me, Dad, and Emily, making dumb faces in a photo booth. Now it was all ripped, the card in pieces. The magnets pushed to the side like they didn't matter anymore. And Dad was gone. The house was quiet. Too quiet. No TV murmuring from the living room. No clink of his spoon against his coffee mug. His truck wasn't in the driveway. His boots were missing from the mudroom. I dropped my backpack and picked up one of the photo scraps. It was a piece of my sister's face, her smile, frozen mid-laugh, now jagged and alone. Emily. My twin. The reason I left in the first place. We hadn't spoken in 8 months. Not since that night. Not since I told her what I knew, what I saw, and she begged me to keep it quiet. I didn't. Dad found out. And the family split like a dry branch under pressure. Mom left first. Then Emily. Then me. Dad stayed. Stubborn and righteous. Said he wasn't choosing sides, but he never called me again after I left. Until now, this note. These photos. You made your choice. I checked every room. Nothing packed. No missing drawers. Just a half-empty closet, an open jar of peanut butter, and a calendar still flipped to last December. Something felt off. Dad hated drama. He didn't do scenes. He didn't leave notes, especially not cryptic ones. I found one more thing before I sat down, an envelope, tucked inside the silverware drawer. No name. Just a single word written on the front. Truth. Inside, there were 4 printed photos. Full color. Not torn. And none of them were what I expected. One showed Emily in a parking lot talking to a man I didn't recognize. One showed Mom entering a motel, alone, at night. The third was of me walking into my old high school, alone. And the fourth. I wasn't in that one. But Dad was. Standing outside our house. Talking to a woman who wasn't my mother. And she was holding a baby. I must have stared at that last photo for 10 full minutes, my hand going numb from gripping it too tight. Dad. Outside our house. Smiling in that careful, cautious way he always did when he thought no one was watching. And the woman, mid-30s, dark hair, sunglasses on her head, stood close to him, almost too close. She was holding a baby. A baby I'd never seen before. I flipped the photo over. On the back, written in Dad's blocky, slightly slanted handwriting. You never asked the right questions. What the hell was that supposed to mean? I laid out all 4 photos on the kitchen table, side by side. My sister with some unknown guy. Mom going into a motel alone. Me, just walking into school like a normal day. And Dad, with them. Why these photos? Why now? And what did any of it have to do with the torn-up family pictures on the fridge? You made your choice. That's what the note said. But maybe this wasn't just about me walking away. Maybe this was bigger. Deeper. More personal. I texted Emily. Me, call me. Urgent. Me, Dad left something. Me, it's not about you. It's all of us. She didn't reply. I tried Mom. Straight to voicemail. I knew they were both still alive. I checked their socials, and yeah, Emily had just posted a story the day before. A latte, a new book, some filter over her face. But there was no trace of Dad in their lives anymore. Just like me. I turned the truth envelope upside down, hoping for more. And one more thing did fall out, a folded piece of notebook paper. Wrinkled, water-stained, as if he'd written it and almost didn't send it. It read, I thought I was protecting you. All of you. But now I see that silence is its own kind of betrayal. If you're reading this, I'm gone. Not missing. Not hiding. Just, done. I tried to hold this family together. I really did. But we've all been lying to each other for so long, I don't even know what's real anymore. Start with Emily. Ask her what happened at the lake house. You deserve to know. Dad. The lake house. My breath caught. We hadn't been there in years. Not since the summer after senior year. The one summer everything seemed perfect until it wasn't. Something happened there. Something none of us ever talked about. And now Dad was pointing right back at it. I called Emily again. Straight to voicemail. Then I pulled up my Maps app. The lake house was 2.5 hours away. I didn't even hesitate. I packed a bag, grabbed the photos, locked the door behind me. And as I started the car, a message finally came through from Emily. If you're going there, don't go alone. I hit the gas harder than I meant to. Emily's message sat open on the passenger seat like it might say something new if I stared at it long enough. If you're going there, don't go alone. But I was alone. Had been for a long time. The road to the lake house wound through the foothills like a memory I wasn't sure I wanted back. Every curve reminded me of the summer we stayed out there as a family, Dad grilling steaks, Mom sunbathing with headphones in, Emily sketching on the porch, and me, trying to pretend we were normal. Whole. It had always felt like a fragile kind of peace. Like the air would crack if you breathed too loud. I got there just after 7 p.m. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the dock and the shed and the warped wooden boards of the old porch. The house looked smaller than I remembered, the way everything from childhood eventually does. The key was still under the loose rock. I let myself in. Dust. Silence. That woodsy, lake air scent that never quite left the curtains. But no Dad. No sign anyone had been here in months. Until I stepped into the living room. On the coffee table was a single manila envelope, unlabeled. Inside, more photos. Only these weren't printed. They were Polaroids. And they were new. The first one showed the front of our old house this week. Dean's truck in the driveway. Trash cans out. The second was me, taken from a distance, getting off the bus yesterday. The third was of Emily. Sitting in a car. Crying. Someone had been watching us. I flipped the last photo over. On the back, in the same handwriting from the fridge note. You still think you chose this? I backed away like the photos might bite. There was a presence in that room now. Not a sound. Not a shadow. But something tight in the air, a knowing, a pressure. I felt it deep in my chest. Then a door creaked open upstairs. I froze. Dad? No answer. I grabbed the fireplace poker and slowly climbed the stairs, the photos still clutched in my left hand. Each step groaned like it wanted to give me away. At the top, the hallway stretched to the old guest room. The door was open. And sitting in the middle of the room, barefoot and pale, was Emily. Jesus, I whispered. What are you doing here? She didn't look at me. Just kept staring at the wall, her arms wrapped tight around her knees. I told you not to come alone, she said. Her voice was dry. Hollow. And then she looked up. I think he's been here the whole time. I stepped forward. You mean, Dad? She nodded. Then she stood and walked over to the closet. Before he left, she said, he made me promise I'd never tell you what happened here. That summer. She pulled open the door. Inside was a duffel bag. Unzipped, full of cash. Dozens of photos. One burner phone. And a small wooden box. She handed it to me. Inside, resting on a torn piece of notebook paper, was a silver wedding band. Dad's. And beneath it, written in smeared ink. I never stopped watching. You never stopped lying. I stared down at the ring like it might explain everything, like maybe it could rewind time and give me a version of Dad that still made sense. But nothing about this made sense. Emily stood beside me, arms crossed tightly over her chest, like she was trying to hold herself together. Her eyes were sunken, tired in a way that wasn't about sleep. I came up here this morning, she said, voice barely above a whisper. Something told me I had to. I thought maybe if I got here before you, I could make sense of it before you saw everything. I looked up from the box. Before I saw what? She didn't answer. Not right away. Instead, she sat on the edge of the bed like her legs had finally given up trying to hold her up. You remember that night, she said. Summer after high school. You and me on the porch, Dad in the kitchen, Mom asleep. I nodded slowly. The night everything cracked open. She pulled a photo from her back pocket. A fifth one I hadn't seen. Folded once, worn at the edges. She handed it to me. It showed the two of us, me and her, outside the lake house. We were laughing. I had my arm around her. Nothing seemed wrong. Until you looked closer. Dad was in the background, behind the screen door. Watching. His face half in shadow, half in reflection. He saw us fighting that night, Emily said. He heard everything. She paused, then looked me dead in the eye. And then, he followed Mom. What? That night. After we all went to bed. She told him she was going to town for groceries the next morning, but she left that night. He tailed her. Found out where she was staying. Who she was meeting. The motel. The photo. I pieced it together slowly. Dad knew about Mom's affair. Maybe long before I ever did. Maybe longer than she thought. He didn't tell me any of this, I said. Emily looked away. He told me. A cold pit opened in my stomach. What else did he tell you? She stood again. Walked to the window. Her voice cracked. He wanted me to stay close. To watch Mom. To keep tabs on you, too. He said he didn't trust you anymore, that you'd pick her side. I felt like the floor had shifted. So what, you were spying for him? I thought I was protecting him, she snapped, turning to face me. But I didn't know he was unraveling. That he'd been taking photos. Stashing cash. Planning to disappear. I opened the burner phone. A single message blinked on the screen. From a number labeled only as home. When truth becomes a weapon, even family bleeds. I looked at Emily. He's not just gone. He's hiding. She nodded once. And then said something I'll never forget. He told me if you ever came looking, if you ever found the lake house, I was supposed to give you the ring. Why? So you'd know he didn't die. She walked to the table, picked up the torn note from the fridge, and placed it beside the ring. You made your choice, she said softly, repeating Dad's final words. But maybe he was talking about his own. We stood in silence. The sun sank lower. And somewhere, maybe across the state, maybe across the world, our father was alive. Watching. Waiting. And still keeping score.